Hi, Earth Angels. It's me, Samantha DeBrule, here with another weekly reading with our guest, Wilbur. He wants to be in my lap right now, and so I was like, oh, I'm getting ready to leave for a photo shoot, and he's like, no, Mother, don't leave, don't leave. So, giving him some love, and I'm giving all of you some love during this reading. I am so grateful and enthusiastic and excited to share that I have a home now. I've been traveling for 7 to 8 months, as many of you have followed me on my journeys, and it's been beautiful and expansive and a journey of a lifetime for sure. And learned a lot about trust and being present and surrender. Surrender is so big. And sometimes when we're manifesting, we get so attached to the outcomes, which I did, and I had to get real, get real with myself, and I know that anything is possible, and we can. His little snores. Anything is possible, but sometimes there's something even better planned for us than what we are trying to manifest. So when we're manifesting, this is a reminder to all of you this week, as I remind myself that when we are manifesting, visualize to the detail and, create that vision board and act as if, but don't attach to the outcome and allow spirit to bring you what serves your highest good with all those things in mind and in consideration. And there's so much that I could tell about my journeys, but that was on my heart this morning, and I wanted to share with all of you. His little snores are so funny. People go, Samantha, how do you sleep with the snoring? And I say, I don't even notice it anymore. He's almost 10 years old, and it's kind of like if he's not snoring, I'm like, where is he? What's going on? Because it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like bedtime lullabies at this point. I don't know, it's tickling me. He's snoring right now. Okay. So, as we welcome all the loving vibrations and are present with the spirit that I am, that we are, that I am, we're going to ask for guidance this week. There's a lot of beautiful energy coming up with the new moon in the beginning of the week. I'm going to see how that energy will play out for us and how we can use that to serve our highest good. This week I'm using my Osho Zen Tarot deck. So I'm being guided to pull for the flow of the week, meaning the beginning, the middle, and the end, as well as pulling an additional card for opportunity or obstacle this week. So it's kind of a mesh of my spreads that I usually do for you. Okay, so for the beginning of the week, this one. For the middle of the week, this one. And for the weekend, two cards. And a card as guided for our opportunity or our obstacle. The choice is ours. All right, for the start of our week, Innocence. It's a beautiful card. This card at the beginning of the week is reminding us of to surrender what was given to us, as far as like society would say, titles, labels, and when we surrender that, what is left behind is the innocence, the essence of our being. So it's fun to kind of play with and evaluate, like when people call us certain names, certain nicknames, when labels are given to us. Even if they're compliments and insults alike aren't like the essence of spirit. It's just their ego identifications. So what's being asked of us at the beginning of the week is just to approach it with innocence. This is also a reminder of our inner child, and before we learn how to judge what remains, to see the world through that perspective. So it's a gentle beginning of the week. The middle of the week, we have this mind card, which this one is specifically the guilt card, or the 8 of air. This card, it's funny that it comes after the innocence card, because a lot of the times guilt comes from thinking that something should be the way that it's not, and that we feel responsible or resentful or something. It's basically trying to deny the reality as it is. And so this card, even though it says that there might be some things we're overworking in our mind, it isn't necessarily that we're, this is a bad card, but it's to say, what are we denying as a reality? Like if something's coming up and we're having thoughts about things, judgments, or feeling shamed for feeling a certain way, whatever that is, to sit with that and say, I fully accept the reality as it is. Now let me allow the potential for solutions to saturate the situation and my being, instead of getting caught up in the mind and the way things should be. This is also a card reminding of forgiveness, again, coming up. That was in last week's reading as well. And offering an opportunity to forgive ourselves for our thoughts. And be so gentle to yourself during these times. Guilt is a normal human condition. Like, it's something that I think it's relatable to most everyone. So with that energy being present, align yourself with the solutions. But don't deny that you're feeling this. You don't have to react with guilt. That's a choice. But feeling it, it just comes up. It's human. So if we sit with it, we can allow it to dissolve by accepting it. All right, and the weekend. The Fool card and projections. It's interesting that these come together. In the traditional tarot, the 7 of Cups, this one, 7 of Water, is also our temptation in too many choices card. And the Fool card is about beginnings, where we're starting our cycle back. Our reality isn't linear, like a beginning and end, but it's a cycle. And this is suggesting that there's going to be a new beginning, or a new cycle beginning. And the beautiful thing about the Fool, as you can see here depicted, he's stepping off the cliff with his eyes towards the sky. And a lot of people would be like, the Fool is being foolish. However, the beautiful thing about the Fool is, you can fool him and you can fool him again, but he's not feeling the suffering of it. He's trusting spirit. He's trusting something outside of himself. That's the invisible consciousness. And he's also tuning into his inner compass, willing to step out, even though people have told him that the path may be scary and fearful, or that, they know all the stories. Other people know the path, they've done it before. But the Fool goes, well, I want to know myself, and I want to take the steps myself and experience it myself. So that is what is presented on this weekend. Aligned or connected with the projections card, it'll say that we have a lot of choices in this situation. As we're starting new beginnings, we almost might be tempted by so many things. So make sure you tune into that inner quietness and ask yourself, what possible direction serves the greatest good for you and for the others involved. Don't sacrifice yourself for everybody else in a deprivation kind of way, but recognize what is a temptation of falling into old habits, and what is this temptation or opportunity that could bounce you forward and leap you into some new experiences that your heart has been desiring. And for our opportunity or obstacle this week, aloneness. I love this card so much. For those of my awakened friends out there, we recognize that being alone is not necessarily lonely, because we're seldom, alone. We're always with our higher consciousness and all of our angel helpers. But when we're physically alone, sometimes the feelings of loneliness can come up. So this opportunity or this obstacle this week is, if it's an obstacle, you may feel lonely and feel almost bored or restless within yourself. For us who are using it as medicine for our consciousness, this aloneness is an opportunity to be still with ourselves and recognize that we're not really alone. And this is such a powerful card. It's beautiful. This is a great card for reminding us of meditation. And this card also, which is my favorite thing about this card, is it seems like a dark space sometimes, this aloneness. But the figure in this card representing us has a light coming from within. Light isn't outside of himself. He's carrying the light through the dark space. So even when you can't see like the light at the end of the tunnel of situations, remember that the light is a lot closer than we think, and we can walk through the darkness, not quite knowing with uncertainty, by carrying this light of truth and trust within ourselves. Whew. So much big stuff. It feels big. It feels like a lot of fluctuations, and perhaps that's why I was guided to do the flow of the week instead of my other spreads that I could do. So I hope you found that helpful. I love doing these readings for all of you, and I'm glad that I could take a moment and share the guidance that I received this week. I hope you all tune into your inner truth and let your inner compass be your guide. I love you with all that I am, and I will see you next week. Take care.